is the beginning. Visit nybankruptcy.com today.
You can listen on air or online. Plus, watch the Late Joey Reynolds Show right now with streaming video at SundayNightLive.com.
Jason Chatfield, come on down. Great to have you here. He's a cartoonist, I think.
And a comic.
I guess we don't call it a cartoon. You're a character.
Yeah, no, cartoonist is the correct terminology, yeah.
Oh, you have something wrong with your voice? You sound very...
Oh, my Lord.
Is that
He's from Australia.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a disease.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
You got the down under. I had that once. Never got off the turlet.
Wow.
But it's great to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Joe.
And I love Hugh Jackman.
Well, he's a good friend of mine. You know, there's only 9 of us down there. We all
Yeah,
live
I
in the
know.
Sydney Opera House together.
I know.
Small place.
I thought you were living with R.M. Williams in the Outback.
Oh, yeah, with my hat.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
it. And the leather pants, the moleskin pants.
Right, exactly.
Very good in Florida. No breathing. You know, I was in Florida all week. It's 105 degrees.
Oh,
Was it
my
the
God.
other day.
Wow.
And indoors, fortunately in Florida we have air conditioning everywhere. You know, so it
right.
works. But in New York they turn the heat off during the certain hours. You know, in Florida we keep the air on all the time. We kind of like our, you know. I mean, it's a thing here about landlords.
Yeah.
Where do you live, Jason?
I'm down in Alphabet City. I got a hell of a landlord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Well, do you mean just day to day?
Yeah, well, that's what we're. Yeah, well, nobody wants to hear about what you do for your cartoons. We're not looking at them, are we?
Well, yeah, I mean, I do stand-up by night, and I'm a cartoonist by day. I live in a 4th-floor walk-up down in Alphabet City, and I work out of home. Everyone in my building's an artist, so it's never a dull moment.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'm out doing 2 or 3 shows a night. I've been doing that for 10 years in June.
Wow.
And
Or at Gotham? Are you at Gotham?
Yeah, I'm there tomorrow night, 7 o'clock show, Monday night.
Aren't
Yes.
they the same guys who have the Metropolitan Room?
I think they might. It's either them or the guys who own the stand. I think have
Yeah.
the Metropolitan. But yeah, it's Christmas Izzy.
Well, it's reversed. That used to be Gotham. The Metropolitan was Gotham, I think. at one
Oh, I
time.
think that's yeah.
You know, they did something very strange at that place. There was a stand-up. I went at midnight one night, and they changed to a Spanish format. You know, went to
boy.
Latin format.
Yeah.
In the middle of someone's set. You know, and they changed the table tents and the language. Well, we already paid our 2-drink minimum. You know? Right. So they got us the hell out of there. Wow. And they went right into the Latin thing.
We should try that here. You know,
Yeah,
we
well,
should
they
just
do that
all of a
here.
sudden,
In about 10 more minutes, you're going to hear a foreign language on this show, on this station. They're going to sell polkas. You know, I mean, this is unbelievable. It's a bowling show coming up. Danny Fingeroth is here too. Danny, how are you, Danny?
Okay, how are you, Joe?
Now, Danny, I got a game for you. I got the superhero game. Danny was
thank
with
God.
Marvel, and of course, you know, for all those years he did Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's
true.
Did you-
Oh, wow.
Are you familiar with this here?
You know, not,
I guess you
not
haven't.
that exact game, but
That's
I'm familiar
the
with character.
Shoots and Ladders.
That's Spider-Man. Is he strong? Listen, Bud. He's got radioactive blood.
Everybody knows for sure. No.
There's about 27 people on Times Square that think they're Spider-Man,
and one of them is.
and there's only one naked cowboy.
Only one. I would think there'd be more than one naked cowboy.
No,
at
no,
this point.
no.
There's only-
He's got
Has
the
he trademarked
franchise.
it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he's been on the show with me here. A couple
He
of times.
has?
No, he's been on
I've
every
known
show,
him
yeah.
forever. I've known him when I used to see him at the gym.
Wow.
You know, he was very buff.
Yeah, I'd say.
And I told him, you know, we had him
He
here.
better be,
when we-
because if I went out there,
I was going to say,
Yeah, really.
we're putting Jay in spandex. It's going to be the centerfold out in National Geographic.
very nice.
Finally, Times Square will be quiet.
Yes.
Thank you for the game, Joey. It brings
Shoots
back
and
many
ladders,
happy
right?
memories. You know, I'm writing a biography of the co-creator of Spider-Man, of Stan Lee.
Oh, he was great. Now,
Yeah.
now the Comic Con, which
Yes.
is
Just
half
got
that word's
back.
true.
Me too.
And so did Jason, yeah.
Oh, what'd you do over there?
I was at the National Cartoonist Society booth. I'm the vice president of the National Cartoonist Society. So I was there doing drawings and signings and doing demos. Yeah.
And if anything happens to the president, he's there to rush in and take over.
That's
not
right.
the president of the United States.
No, the president of the National Cartoonist
Yeah, if
Society.
he gets impeached for any reason, I'm
That's
there.
it.
But that's the same thing. You know, if you're running a cartoon organization, you could live in Washington very easily.
Whoa.
The
Yeah.
White House. There's a lot of Comic Con going on there.
many
Mostly
places.
con.
Mostly con, yeah.
So yeah, that's the big 6-day extravaganza, 150,000 people. And
It wasn't that way when we started. Remember
a
years
little
ago?
small. Yeah, it was about 300 people in 1970.
Yeah. And I first signed up for Uber a couple of years ago. Remember they had a little booth there? They didn't
Oh,
have
did
any
they?
franchise yet.
Oh, no.
And I got their T-shirt and I signed up for their service. And they had
Whatever
one car.
happened to them? I mean,
Yeah, well, they got outrageously big, but Comic-Con was where they kicked off.
I didn't know
True
that.
story,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
It was in the front,
Right.
you know, in the entranceway of the Javits Center.
I'm doing a smaller Comic-Con this coming weekend in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
I'll be at the Wizard World Columbus. So if you should be in the Midwest, or now you want a reason to go to Columbus, it's going to be a bunch of movie stars, TV stars, and some actual comic book artists, writers, and I'm doing all sorts of panels with them and having them tell their secrets.
Just stay off of the amusements. If you're going
Well,
to
yes,
Columbus.
that's-
You know, I mean, that was a tragedy this week, and they reopened today. You know, they
Oh,
reopened
they
it
did?
again, except for that
That's
one,
right.
that flash ride. Whatever it
Horrible.
was.
No, come to the convention where it's safe.
and they have the Billy Island Cartoon Museum.
That
as
is
well.
the greatest comic book museum, comic and comic strip museum in
Yes,
the world. It's
fantastic.
on the OSU campus.
People don't realize how big comic books are. My son is a comic book, just loon almost, you know. He'll go to these shows and spend, big
Yes.
bucks and then resell them
Right.
for even bigger bucks.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he'll get somebody in a garage that has like a bunch of comics, and he looks at it and goes, doesn't give in, that he doesn't give a notion that it's worth a lot of money, but
Yeah.
sometimes he'll buy a 50-cent comic and it's worth 300.
Right.
Right, especially if it's somebody who's just passed away and their family just wants to clear the stuff out. They have no idea what
Yes,
it's worth.
precisely.
Well, who did you used to read when you were a
Well,
kid?
Mad Magazine.
Of
Oh,
course.
that's not a comic.
Yes,
book.
it is.
Yes,
It's
it is.
comics.
It's a
It's
comedy.
comics.
It's
It's comics.
It's
the
satire.
best.
It's
Like,
satire.
I mean, you didn't read any comics. Did you read?
But I grew
I like
up
the
in
Marvel comics.
Yeah,
But I also like the classic ones.
yeah, the older ones.
right.
Yeah,
They don't
they're
do
called
that
those
anymore.
silver.
They
don't
do. They're still somebody will always
Yeah,
put out.
Silver
They
Age.
may not.
Yeah, the
they may
Silver
not
Age.
call it classic comics, but it's comics based on literature and
Yeah.
with they're more serious. And then there's a whole world of graphic novels. That's a separate world from the superhero
Yeah,
world.
it is.
Well, if it were not for the movies, we would not have the theaters anymore with the comics. I mean, everybody. Wonder Woman is probably the biggest.
Strangely, you're right.
It's
That and
Wonder
the other
Woman.
comic, Dunkirk.
That's a comedy.
It's a less popular comic.
it is.
Yeah.
It was a laugh
$150
riot.
million to promote a movie that cost $60 million.
Whatever it takes.
What a
Hollywood.
game. But we're into money. Everything's money.
Yeah.
I mean, Stan Lee didn't look at money at the beginning of this thing, did he?
Not the kind of money that they're seeing now,
No.
but he was doing it for a living. Sure, he's
But he
been
was
doing
a
it.
cartoonist.
He was an editor, writer, cartoonist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a modest guy. He was trying to just make everybody happy. And then what happened? The banks got in, and the Wall Street got in, and now all of a sudden it's an industry that is way.
It's massive.
It's over the top.
Well, if people didn't love that stuff, it's also consumed a lot of other genres. Like there's cowboy style superhero movies and science fiction and romance. You know what I mean? Everything's under the umbrella of superheroes now.
Yeah.
But you can tell a lot of different stories.
Is
with
that only because they want to get younger people to see it? Because, I mean, there's no movies for older people anymore, it seems.
That's not true.
Well, it seems.
It seems that because you don't go to them.
Well, there's a lot of streaming TV that's really very good. You know, the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, the Glow Show was shockingly, incredibly good. You know, and lots and lots. I think it's where people are getting anything that maybe is not a big tentpole genre movie.
How long have we known each other, Danny? It's been about 10 years?
About 15 years now.
Is it a long time?
I think I came up
Yeah.
here, yeah.
And you first had a book at that time. Which
I was Superman on the Couch,
Yeah.
and Ted Ferrone brought me up.
Yeah.
meet you.
These days, that would consider to be pornography.
Well,
we don't have.
well, we can hope. You know.
Yeah, we don't have. We
That's-
don't have
yeah.
a lot of reading anymore in books, do we?
The book is still in print, so somebody's still reading books.
But mostly it's cartoons. It's cartoons and it's downloading and Kindle, of course.
And
But what are we doing with our cartoon lives?
Jason, what are we
Oh.
doing with our cartoon lives?
What are we doing with our cartoons?
I don't
Our
know.
lives are like
Well, it's the
cartoons.
live action movies, it's the superhero
Right.
movies, and everything is a cartoon now. Much of our national landscape is kind of a cartoon now, so it's cartoons have taken over everything.
I think it's the simplicity of cartoons that appeals to people too. You know, because life is so complicated. It's a very reductive art form. You can reduce things in life down to a much more simpler form, like the New Yorker cartoons and comic strips in newspapers and comic books.
Well,
and-
there are some countries when there are political upheavals, the first ones to go are the cartoonists.
That's right. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we're not allowed in Russia anymore. They closed. About 2,700 people had to move out of there now.
Right.
You know, well, that's serious stuff. Put that on another show.
Put that on Sirius Radio.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Jason. You're going to be at Gotham tomorrow?
Tomorrow,